Alright, today we're going to take a look at how we can make equal width divs within one other div. But essentially we want equal widths within a given parent. So if we take a look here, we have 5 different boxes and they're all the same width relative to the parent. This is very common. We want multiple columns in a given row all the equal width. You can see that it's responsive. As I move the width of the page, they stay the same width relative to each other. And then we'll also take a look at how we can add a fun animation. So when you hover over it, the width also changes, but keeping all things relative to the parent without having to specify the exact pixels. Alright, so let's take a look at, I just have a basic HTML file here, and essentially how this is going to work, we're going to want our columns or our boxes in a container or a row. And so what I'm going to do is just copy some things over. So I have one parent div called box container, and then I have all these boxes inside. And so with the CSS of these classes is how we'll accomplish what we want to do with the equal width. So I'll start off with the box container class. Essentially all we're doing is just making it full width and then setting the display to flex. This is kind of the key aspect for our parent container that we want. This will give us the ability to get equal widths or relative widths in our children, so in our boxes. Now I'll add, I will add the box or the column class. And essentially the main thing that all we really need is this flex 1. So if they all have flex 1, that means that they'll be equal in width. They will all just kind of adjust to have the same amount. The rest of these are just more so for the sake of the demo. We're just setting a height of 150 pixels just so we can see things. Margin of 2 pixels, again, so they have some spacing and it's easy to see things. And then just adding a simple background image with any image. Nothing too crazy there. So the big takeaways are the parent needs to have display flex and the children need to have flex 1. So now let's take a look at that. And there we go. Now we see all of our children, all our boxes have equal width, and if I change the width of the screen, they all follow. So very straightforward, very easy. And now what we'll do is add a fun little animation just on the hover, just so we can see how we can animate the widths as well. So I'm just going to create a keyframes called my flex anim, and so all we're going to do is just have 2 states, flex 1, which is what we have up here, but then we're also going to animate to flex 2. So that means we're going to have, when this changes width, it's going to be double relative to all the other flex 1s. Let's just have this added on the hover action. So I'm just adding, just for style's sake, just changing the cursor to the pointer, and then adding the keyframes animation with just 2-second duration and this forwards indicator, which means we're just going to go through the animation and stop. We don't want to cycle back to the beginning state of the animation. So now if we take a look at this, when I hover, you can see the cursor changes as well as the width. So you can see that the one that I'm hovering over is now 2 sizes bigger than the others. So that might be a little confusing, but essentially just double the size of the flex 1. So all the other ones are flex 1, this is flex 2. So now everything's, in terms of width, is essentially divided into 6 parts, the middle getting 2, and all the other ones getting 1. So this is a fun little animation if you have people on your website wanting to scroll over and expand different things. We could also do this with the height. So if you want to have things expand down when people hover over, as well as the width, kind of brings the user's attention more so to whatever they're hovering over, allowing them to kind of focus on that without being distracted by all the other content. So kind of the conclusion is it's essentially we're using this flex property. We want our parent container to have display flex, and then our children to have flex 1. And that's how we accomplish the equal widths divs relative to the screen, or rather relative to the parent.